2023 Chattanooga Epic Racers will have 48 hours to get as many checkpoints as possible. The start is at Coolidge Park in downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. The race will begin with a short prologue on foot as they pick several easy checkpoints along the spectacular Chattanooga riverfront before returning to Coolidge Park. They will then grab their boats and paddling gear and enter the Tennessee River for a 34-mile paddle leg, where they will be treated to spectacular views in the Tennessee River Gorge on their way to the takeout in Haletown near Nickajack Dam. Transitioning to bikes, teams will hit the back roads on their way to Lookout Mountain via the infamous Burkhalter Gap climb with a 20% grade at the top. Up to this point, the course has been straightforward, but teams will now have to decide what checkpoints to go for and which ones to strategically skip, as they encounter optional technical single-track sections, such as the Moonshine Trails, that will test their skills and zap their strength. Teams will then enter the Lula Lake Land Trust property, with its beautiful waterfall and spectacular views, as they make their way to the Nickajack Connector Trail section. All teams will have to deal with the steep, rocky climbs and descents as they head towards the Five Points and Durham trail systems. This maze of trails will offer lots of route choice options to top teams as they decide to either wend their way along the technical single track or bike whack between the sinuous trails. Staying found in the dark will be a challenge to even the best of navigators. Teams will then descend off Lookout Mountain on their way to Pigeon Mountain, famous for its incredible cave systems, where they will transition to the first and longest trek section of the race. Top teams, who will try to get all the checkpoints, will have a nearly infinite array of route choices as the checkpoints are dispersed all over the mountain, and the steep cliffs will discourage direct attack points. Teams will also encounter their first cave and tunnel checkpoints, so they'll have to keep their headlamps handy. Transitioning back to their bikes, racers will head back to Lookout Mountain via the gravel climb up Newsom Gap, along with a few easy cave checkpoints along the way. Top teams will hit the single-track trails once more before heading to the TA at Cloudland Canyon State Park. Putting their trail shoes back on, they will again encounter an array of checkpoints and steep terrain with many route choice options. Teams will have to gauge how much time to allot to the trek to ensure that they get to the finish before the race cutoff at noon on Sunday. From Cloudland Canyon, it's a 30-mile road ride to the finish at Coolidge Park. The last 7 miles along the Tennessee River Walk and through the Riverbend Music Festival taking place this weekend.